Scanning for audio.
Welcome to the Tin Dog Podcast. Yes, it's the summer, and this is Blakes7. Story number 3 from Series 2 being Weapon. Ah, yes, Weapon. Do you ever get the feeling that there's a lot of stuff thrown into something? Over-egging the pudding is a good way of putting it. Yes, there are people in this episode where you go, you are? Who's got what's A? In fact, A is a fairly good noise to have going on while you're watching this particular story. You see, you've got your A plot, and then your B plot, and then usually your C plot, and things like that. That's how narrative usually works. But here you've got your A plot, and your other A plot, and probably at least one more A plot. You've got the Clonemasters. Now, if this was Babylon 5, the Clonemasters would have been the major recurring villain for an entire series. If this was Star Trek, the Clonemasters would have appeared several hundred times and you would have gone, oh great, here they are again. The woman who is a Clonemaster, and I know this is probably going to be all over the place because I'm doing this without notes, and you know what, why not? She does look like she's just stepped off, well, a Gallifrey set. Big collars, ridiculous makeup, and a lot of wavy hand gestures, and talking about the sanctity of life. All very important. All never to be seen again. All very disappointing. I can't pretend to understand it, but then again, that's not important. What is important is that, well, there's a story about cloning, about copying. That's like your A plot, the first A plot, let's call it that. And then you've got, well, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Travis version 2.0. Everyone watching is going, well, that's not Travis. I remember Travis. I watched Blakes7. I'm a fan. I saw all of Travis in the last series. This bloke's a cheery, chirpy Cockney character. Is this a fancy dress competition? And all the usual nonsense that people like me spout. No, what they've done is they've done a recast. Now, Brian Croucher's pretty good. And if you'd had Brian Croucher from the very beginning, no one would have batted an eyelid and everyone would have been very pleased. But there's a storyline about cloning in the story where you've got someone turn up who quite clearly isn't the person who was there in the last series. Yes, he's wearing black and has got an eye patch and has got a fake dodgy hand, but that's it. That's all you've got. And yes, he wants to kill Blake slightly more than he wants anything else. So that's one storyline where you've got Blake and the copy of Blake, which I'm not quite sure about. It's not like they've got some sort of psychic link. Yes, you've got Servalan, and after listening to the Jacqueline Pierce biography CD, I'm seeing her in a whole new light. Yes, she's dressed in, I can't even begin to tell you what she's dressed in. I'm sure there's a fruit bowl that looks just like that neck piece she's got on, available from IKEA. And it's very odd that the president of the entire galaxy is dressed like a serving girl from an old episode of Star Trek. But that's the way of the things in the 70s. But it's the other A-plot, the actual weapon from the title. That's the distracting thing. That's the thing that really distracts you. Because you've got a strange balding bloke who also looks like he's just stepped off, well, some sort of Gallifrey convention circuit. And his bond slave. Has slavery even been mentioned in the Federation? I don't even know how that works. It's becoming more and more like some sort of Greek or Roman structure. Slavery appears to have turned up a lot more. Now, I know there are arguments for and against the existence of slavery. By definition, back to the 10th Doctor saying, who makes your clothes? But the 1970s Federation is a lot more clear-cut than that sort of thing. Someone is either a slave or they are not. And the genetic breeding system, the alpha grades, The stuff straight out of Brave New World that's hinted at still seems a little bit odd. I don't think I've ever seen anyone pregnant in Blakes7. But lots of people have parents and mothers and that sort of thing gets discussed. So perhaps that's a whole different rambling sidetrack that I really need not to go into. So there's a very, very arrogant, nasty man who's apparently the hero who's invented IMIPAK, which sounds ridiculous. It sounds like a placeholder name. It sounds like something you'd use to take the hair off your legs. The Bonds girls are clearly in love with him, and he's just a weird, arrogant, overdressed person. It looks like he's dressed as Eric Roberts' master, who's always dressed for the occasion. They've got a weapon that allows you to shoot someone and delay the impact. Well, you know what? It's a nice idea, and you could have a whole story dedicated to that. But they don't know what to do with it. The extra clone of Blake, again, it's kind of wasted. It's like a third or fourth draft where people are trying to fix things and they just can't quite get it to work. But that's just my reading. What do I know? I know nothing. Yes, it's enjoyable enough, but perhaps it's the new Travis that just distracts you too much from my liking. And so I'm going to watch the next Blakes7 and see if that makes me feel any better. Yes, the lamps on the walls look like they've just come from Space 1999, but you know what? That does not save this story. Too much pointing of pointless weaponry, too many big collars, and too many big ideas crammed into one little story. And with that, I'm going to fade away, and perhaps next time I'll be talking about Doctor Who, or maybe more Blakes7. So until next time, be seeing you. On the 3rd of September 2016, Hooverville 8 will be with us. Possibly the friendliest convention in the whole of the UK. This year's guests include, but are not limited to, Kai Owen from Torchwood, Michael Jason from Doctor Who, the Valiard himself, Katie Manning, Joe Grant, Eric Sayward, Sophie Aldred, good old Ace, and Matthew Dale. For more information and to book your ticket, visit the Derby Quad website, www.derbyquad.co.uk, derbyquad.co.uk. That was the Doctor Who Tin Dog Podcast, available on iTunes, YouTube, Twitter, RSS, Vimeo, and across the internet. Doctor Who and its associated properties are all copyright and trademark of the BBC. No infringement is intended. Why not become a supporter by visiting patreon.com/tindog. Contact the show on tin-dog@hotmail.co.uk. The Tin Dog Podcast is a founder member of the Doctor Who Podcast Alliance.